I call the August 4th, 2015 Will County Planning and Zoning Commission to order. At this time, we're going to have Commissioner Kim Mitchell lead the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Mike Carruthers, Joliet Township.
Here.
Scott Lager, Homer Township. There we go. Something's wrong. Michael, what's wrong? We're too dark.
Okay. Oh, that's good, right there.
Okay. There.
Turn that last one off.
I'm sorry. Kim Mitchell, Shanahan Township. Here. Barbara Peterson, Washington Township is here. Hugh Stiffen, Frankfort Township. Here. Tom White, Troy Township. Not here. Sherman Linvalone, Manhattan Township.
Here. In your packet this week, you had the meeting minutes for July 7th, 2015. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections?
Mr. Chairman, make a motion to approve the minutes as they stand.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Madam Secretary, do you have any announcements?
Mr. Chairman, variance cases will be heard to a conclusion by this commission this evening. We do have 3 cases that will go forward to the Land Use Development Committee, this county boardroom. What is it now, 9:30 or 10:30?
The land use?
Yeah.
10.
10 o'clock? Okay, I know it was changed. Next Tuesday, which is
August 11th.
Thank you.
At this time, I'm going to swear everybody that's going to give testimony in tonight in mass. So at this time, all those planning to give testimony, please raise your right hand and say, I do after I swear you in. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. I do. Thank you. At this time, we ask that you turn off your cell phones, if you have them on. On larger cases, if we have any objectors or concerned citizens, we may limit those comments to 5 minutes for testimony. We also ask that any testimony that has already previously been submitted to the commission not be repeated. Thank you. At this time, we're going to open up our first zoning case, case 6220-MSB, Louis Guzman, owner of record. We have a request for a map amendment, and we have a request for a special use permit, and we have a request for a variance. And Natalie from our staff will open up this case.
Thank you, Chairman Malone. The subject property for zoning case 6220-MSB is located in Joliet Township. The applicant is requesting a map amendment from I-2 to A1, a special use permit for landscaping and lawn maintenance in an A1 zoning district, and a variance for lot frontage from 300 feet to 10 feet. The purpose of this request is to operate a landscaping business while having the ability to actively farm and stable horses. I forgot the clicker. One moment.
Okay.
Oh, I don't think it's this one. It's the little one. Do you mind just hitting the arrow, please?
Which one?
This one. On the inside. Thank you. This slide is an aerial view of the area. The subject property is a flag lot located north of Route 6 and west of South Barrel Road. It is 10 acres in size and shares a 10-foot gravel entrance to Route 6 with abutting properties to the west and east. A recorded easement for access to the property is established. Displayed are photos of the gravel entrance and driveway to the subject property. This driveway is approximately 700 feet long and 10 feet in width. Displayed are photos of Route 6 looking east and west. This corridor of Route 6 is a 2-lane highway. Displayed are photos of the subject property. The owner of record has since removed the horses from the property as stated in the provided email and the memo. Photos displayed were taken July 1st, 2015. Now displayed is a zoning map. The subject property is zoned I-2. Property to the north, west, and east is zoned A1. Directly south are 2 parcels. One is zoned I-2 and the other is incorporated with the city of Joliet. The general area is dominated by A1 zoning. Staff recommendation. Staff recommends approval of the map amendment from I-2 to A1 and approval of a special use permit for landscaping and lawn maintenance in an A1 zoning district with conditions. These conditions include written approval from IDOT for the special use must be submitted to the Land Use Department within 2 months of County Board approval. The second condition, proof of architect hire must be submitted to the Land Use Department within 30 days of County Board approval. A building permit application and architectural drawings must be submitted to the Land Use Department within 6 months of County Board approval. A building permit and site development permit must be obtained within 10 months of County Board approval. The special use permit shall not be transferable to subsequent owners of the subject property. And conditions 6 and 7 have been outlined in the provided memo. All machinery stored on the subject property must meet setbacks for the A1 zoning district, and the site development permit will require a Forest Reserve District of Will County approval. Staff also recommends approval of a variance for lot frontage from 300 feet to 10 feet. That concludes staff's analysis.
Natalie, on the conditions, we had a boilerplate condition that we used regarding site access. Are we not using that anymore?
Can you repeat that?
Site access?
We're requiring written approval from IDOT.
I'm talking about county. Mike, can you speak on that?
Sure. You are correct, Chairman Vaughn. I'll pull up the language right now. We can be sure to add that condition to the list of conditions as part of that special use.
Okay. It was, I think, what it is. Can you explain what that condition was? Just so
Sure.
the applicant knows?
The condition required that upon 14 days written notice, the applicant allow employees of the Land Use Department or Sheriff's Office entry on the property to inspect the conditions and other related matters to the special use permit that was approved.
Okay. And if you could pull that up, and then before we take a vote on it, we'll amend the case to add that to it. And if the applicant has to ask any questions about that, we can explain it at that time also. I had one other question. Oh, you know what I wanted to ask you was, this particular case got pulled from the agenda and continued multiple times. I believe originally it was up for a denial, and I saw where in the case here, there some of those issues were corrected. Can you just give us a brief version of that?
We were given new information regarding, so the way the case originated, staff had gone out to the site to do an inspection prior to the first scheduled public hearing, and there were IEPA violations on the property. The applicant was given time to correct those violations. He has cleaned up the property since then. Staff has inspected since then, and also our waste management division, resource recovery and energy now. They also did a report that's included in the staff report showing that the site was cleaned up. Since then, the applicant has also provided evidence of a recorded easement showing that they do have legal access to the property through that shared driveway. And they have contacted IDOT and showed us proof of correspondence.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions of the staff? Is the applicant here tonight? Thank you. Would the applicant please come down? I'd like to make an announcement that typically I would say this, but I didn't get to it tonight. The Will County Planning and Zoning Commission does have 7 members, and tonight we only have 5 present. You do need 4 yes votes for approval on your case. Anyone who feels that they would need a continuance because there's 2 commission members missing, when your case is called, you can come up to the dais and we'll talk about the continuance. Yes. Please state your name for the records.
Louis Guzman.
Yes. Mr. Guzman, do you have anything to add to this case?
I don't think so. I'm just here to do what, I'm here to follow the rules, and I'm here to make things right.
The reason why I called you is to ask that. The other thing is that there was another condition that we're going to add to it. That's a standard condition that was left off this case, and Mr. Smetana will give you a brief explanation as to what that.
No objection to it.
Did you hear what he said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Are there any questions of the applicant?
Yes, Mr. Guzman. The residents south of you, there's a horse farm directly south of your
East.
east. Is that south? South.
Yeah, there.
South of Route 6,
Okay.
right? And the residents there and down the road north of there was complaining about the flies. I guess they can't sit out and stuff because that farm backs up to the residency right there in Parkwood. Is there anything that can be done with the? I don't know if there's anything to be done with it.
I don't have anything on the property that would cause the flies. I think that's more for later on when there's horses on the property. The horses have been removed, and I think it's with, you know, as long as you do the maintenance on the horses and you clean up on them, and that's what we're willing to do. And the neighbor next to us does have horses there now,
Right.
so maybe that could be causing the flies. But we just have bobcats and trucks with trailers, or that's it right now. So you know, whatever we can do to help to make the flies go away, I mean, we'll certainly do it. We'll maintain the place clean.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to, are there any objectors or concerned citizens in regards to this case? There are. Okay, we're going to ask you to come down one at a time if you could. Mr. Guzman?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm going to give you an opportunity to sit down there. I'm going to give you a chance to respond to any of the concerned citizens or objectors. I'll give you that chance. Go ahead and sit down. How you doing today? Please state your name for the record.
Douglas Stein. So, my fiance and I had planned for years to retire. In fact, we're going to retire in next June. And we had planned on building a home on that property.
You know what? Can we pull up the overview of the map? And can you, that was the one right there. And how, where's your property in relationship to this property, sir?
It's directly to the west. It's the parcel just to the west
And
there.
how large is your property?
How what?
How large is it?
About 10 acres.
10 acres? Okay. Right there.
Yep.
Okay. Do you have a house on that property?
No.
Okay. Go ahead and continue.
Okay, so it's a beautiful piece of property, and we've looked forward to years to turn it into our retirement home. And currently where we live, the neighbor to our west has heavy equipment that we have to look at all the time, which is an eyesore. And if you were to see what's on this property now, you would see what an eyesore it is. I mean, there must be 25 vehicles there. He's built some unpermitted structures there. In fact, he's taken and fenced off our access to our property. So, you know, we're not too thrilled about having, you know, he's saying that there's one business that's going to be operated out of that property, but, you know, I think there's more than one business. You know,
Okay, are you talking about the subject property or property that's to the west?
I'm talking about the subject property. Our property is to the west.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Okay. I manage a business, and we do a type of construction, and we've bought many properties, and we never, ever do anything on any property until we've applied for permits and gotten occupancy certificates, and, you know, we wouldn't build a structure, we wouldn't fence it off, we wouldn't do any of that. You know, we have to even get to our property now, we have to be able to get through his fence, which incidentally is illegally on our property.
Is your lot a flag lot, or is it do you have frontage?
We have frontage.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I mean, the law apparently requires 300 feet of frontage. You know, he has 10. I mean, that's like less than 4% of the required frontage. So I don't get how that, you know, is even being considered.
Well, just to be brief, the flag lots aren't allowed in the county at this time. They haven't been allowed for a long time. Years ago they were, and as far as them being platted and subdivided that way, those are some things that we can't do. They are what they are, and so if we could continue.
Okay. I mean, that's most of what I have. We have a number of friends in the area that ride horses, and we've given them permission to ride there. They can't get in, and it's not showing any signs of getting better. So we're concerned about that.
I'm having a problem with you saying he's fenced off your access to your property.
Yeah.
Are you in front?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lock fence there.
Well, how do you get into your property then?
Well, I mean, like, currently that field is a hay field. We cut hay there,
All right.
okay? And, this past time, he allowed us access to cut the hay. In fact, he had somebody cut the hay for us.
So you had a relationship with them in regards to the existing property, your property?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a tenuous relationship, but yeah.
Okay.
At first, there was just a fence there, and we had no, at first, there was just a fence there, and we had no access to it.
Is the fence on his property or on your property?
I mean, Kim is going to come up here
Can you
after.
answer her question, please?
I don't know the answer, that's what I'm saying. Kim is going to come up here. Part of the fence is on our property, the way I understand it, but Kim is more familiar with the lot lines and so forth. Kim is coming up after me to discuss this.
We're here, you know what, I realize that's a problem, okay, what's going on in your property, but we're here actually to discuss what's going on in that property. And this particular case was brought before us, and our land use department did recommend denial. They said they corrected some of those issues on there. Do you see that those issues have been corrected?
I mean, the way I understand the law, which is from a limited basis, that we're entitled to have clean, clear enjoyment of our property, and it's not to be disrupted.
Okay, other than that, do you feel that there's been any change?
I mean, I don't see any
conditions
horses there.
of the property since the staff has said there's been some changes?
Yeah,
Do you see any of those changes?
I see the horses have been taken off the property. That's all I see.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
That's all I have.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Bob?
I have a question.
Sure.
You say that it's been stated that one business is going to operate on this particular parcel. You're implying that there's more than one business.
Well, he also-
What would the other business?
He also has a home building business, okay?
He
And
has a
there's-
construction
yes,
business?
Right, yes. And Kim has a number of pictures that show heavy equipment on the property as well.
Okay, so we probably should wait for her testimony. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Lewis, we'll give you a chance to respond at the end. We're going to let the people that are objectors or concerned citizens speak. If you want to take some notes, go ahead. We'll let you respond to what the giving testimony on. Next. Is there another objector?
Yeah.
Please come down.
Hi, I'm sorry, I couldn't know more about the property than him.
Okay, please state your name for the record.
He rarely goes there. It's Kim Perez. Okay. So the purpose of the request, it says here, is to allow for active farming as well as a lawn and landscaping business. But it appears to me that it's a lawn and tree service business, like Homer Tree Service, with the big grinding the big trees. And I have some pictures of the equipment that's on the property for that.
You want to show us those pictures and enter those into the record?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Pretty good. Natalie or Mike, is there a difference between a landscaping business and a tree service? If you want to look it up, go ahead.
Continue on. his truck says landscape and tree service.
Okay.
It's the difference that for me, as the adjoining owner, is that the equipment is much heavier and bigger. And I do have something from Mr. Guzman stopped by the owner to the adjoining property to the east on his way here and told her she didn't have to come because he was no longer going to ask for a commercial driveway or a commercial stable.
That's what you're saying, we can't enter that in.
Well, I was just going to say she sent something in addition to her objection that was in your printed material. She just wanted me to mention that that equipment's really wide and he will never have more than 10 feet across her property to get to his property. So she was like, what are they going to do, have radios like on an airfield, like I'm coming in, don't, wait, because there's only 10 feet no matter what across her property, no matter what kind of driveway ever gets up to Route 6. And she just mentioned that she's a licensed Illinois State thoroughbred trainer, and she didn't see that he would still have 10 acres for a commercial stable, 40 stall stable after the landscape business took acreage. The driveway easement for me to go across there that's fenced off that I can't get to, and I do have pictures of that too. And his septic and his homestead if he's living there, and then she also said that there's 3 professional drivers in her family, and they thought that it would be very dangerous because there's a bus stop right there at the.
Well, you mentioned there wasn't enough acres for 10 acres for the agricultural.
Well, to safely and sanitarily and humanely have a 40 stall horse barn. And here's pictures of the access that's fenced off.
Okay. Well, we're going to give these pictures to staff so we can enter those in on the record.
Okay, so that was just my first thing, and I didn't really see that there'd be room after all these businesses for active farming, but that doesn't really matter. But and then on the bottom of page 2, it says the case history that he wants to have a special use permit to continue to conduct a business on the property, which he is conducting at this point, but I don't understand why the business is being conducted already. So I just wanted to draw your attention to that. Neither of us landowners on either side object to downzoning to A1. It's the special use that we object to because of the fact that there is only 10 feet. So if there is going to be a construction business, a home building business, then we would object to the downzoning to A1, if that's going to be on there. Because that would be appropriately in I1 or I2, which I think right now it's I2. But we don't know if, what I'd like to know is, does he have an address and a properly zoned business place where that business is taking place with?
Well, as far as our business, and that's not something that we're going to make any determination on here tonight. What we're looking at is what's up there, the map, remember?
Okay, well, the reason I asked...
And the variance, and if I could, your objections to each of those items that we're going to be voting on tonight, we're taking note of it.
Okay, well, the reason I asked is that there's just a lot of construction equipment on the property.
Well, it is,
So.
I too.
Oh, right, and he does own a construction business. I just wanted to make sure it's not, if it's sound zoned to A1, that the construction business is not going to continue to be on the property. Because I will, right, well, let me just draw your attention to something that your inspection found, was that before it was cleaned up, there was, on page 24, there was open dumping and burning of off-site waste consisting of but not limited to painted brick, concrete, drywall, general construction and demolition debris, scrap metal, and litter. And then when they came back, when it was supposed to be cleaned up, there were piles of painted bricks, concrete, landscape waste, litter, construction debris, open dumped along the edge and inside a barrel pit, general construction waste.
Okay.
So I'm just concerned. I'm not saying it is, I'm just saying, and that is cleaned up.
just so you're aware, one of the things that we added to staff is this boilerplate language that says the staff and land use department is going to be given with a 14-day notice and go onto the property, and for all of these requested actions that we're going to be voting on tonight, whether it's going to be a map amendment, a special use permit, or a variance, they're going to have the staff and the county will be able to go onto the site and see that they're adhering to the uses that we're allowing them. So at that point, that will be up to the land use department to make any further determinations if there are multiple businesses on that site. So it's good that you noted that, but we also have the county will be on that property as needed.
Okay, I just want to make sure, you know, because otherwise I would object to the A1 down zone, but we don't. Neither of us on either side object to that part.
Okay.
I have a question. You're talking about construction business. Have you seen any name of a business on a truck, or are you aware of a yellow page with his construction business?
Well, his
at that address?
email, no, not at that. He doesn't have anything at that address right now. He doesn't have any business at that address right now because he hasn't been approved for operating business yet, as far as I know. But he does have, his email is with that business. He does have that business. LC Builders, right here, sign with a house that he built. I mean, I know he has the business. You guys know he has the business. I'm not saying it's there. I'm just saying I want to make sure it's not going to be there.
Okay.
When, at the time, we have one opportunity to protest that or clarify it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, before it's too late.
Well, you've got another opportunity next Tuesday.
Oh, I didn't.
When this case goes to the Land Use Development Committee, which is comprised of our county board members. And that recommendation then goes to the full county board for it to be voted upon. So you do have plenty of opportunity to voice your opinion.
Okay, yeah, because like I read that statement from the other property owner because she was here. We were here when he was on vacation, but she couldn't come back because, well, she was going to come back, but he said, you know, that
Well,
he
we've
wasn't.
continued this case
Yeah.
numerous times. I will tell you, it's unprecedented.
Okay.
How many times?
Okay, do you have anything else to add, ma'am?
Um,
Because we're,
Yes, I do.
if we could-
Okay, so we do, I do object to some of the driveway, the machines going up and down the driveway. Again, this was the other property owner told me to mention that the driveway was getting
No,
destroyed.
you mentioned that already.
Okay. And
Did you say that driveway is only 10 feet wide?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
So we believe that it will be detrimental to the health and safety of the region because of it being the aquifer, and there's been articles published in 2011, 2012, some of them by the Forest Preserve, stating that the Spring Creek area is still very important to the aquifer of the area and the water supply. And I just don't see how all that usage can not be detrimental. And, landscaping chemicals, et cetera, I don't know if they're on there and have been inspected, or if they're not on there yet, I have no idea. And
all those issues that are, and just so you're aware, all those issues that are concerned like the environment and anything as far as like water runoff, all those issues like that, the county has departments that looks at that.
Okay.
When permits are issued, and as far as the aquifer and all that, and waste from the animals, etc. There's a waste division. So all these are protecting, trying to protect adjoining property owners and other people of the county. So a lot of that is already being taken care of by the departments that we do have, just so you're aware.
okay, well, I used to have 20 acres there. The Forest Preserve took the rest of my land because it was such delicate aquifer land. So my dream of my whole dream of what I was going to do was it was up in the air for years. And then they took that land. They wanted to take the whole 37 acres that we had, including the land that we're talking about now, his land, the land on the other side. But they only took that. They ruined my life. So suddenly it's not delicate aquifer land anymore. I don't know. Anyway, it says on page 6, number 2, that the special use will not diminish or impair property values. I was a realtor for 12 years, and I have, in order to be a better realtor, I have about 3/4 of the credits to become an appraiser, and I can guarantee you that having heavy equipment on a property is going to diminish the neighboring property values on farmette type properties. I guarantee you. Think about if you would like to live next to that, or you'd like to live next to another farmette. It does diminish. It diminishes the pool of prospective buyers, and they will be diminished, and the only person who will buy is somebody who's going to have another business, which means you're going to have yet more traffic trying to come down the 10 feet. And the driveway, by the way, is permitted only for agricultural use. And it says that in order to get the variance, the plight of the owner is due to unique circumstances. He had just recently bought this land knowing of the unique circumstances, and he does have 40 acres in Kankakee.
Okay, you know what, if you could, we're going to give you another minute to wrap up. And some of the highlighted points that you have. So we did read the case, just so you're aware of that. We'd like to have as much time as you can, but we felt that you made most of your major points. If you have other ones, I'd like you to wrap them up. If you could, I'd appreciate it.
That can be it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Are there any other objectors or concerned citizens? Mr. Guzman, I'll give you a chance to briefly respond to some of the points that were brought up, so you could have your say.
Thank you very much. First of all, I do own a construction company. It's called LC Builders. I build homes. I'm a general contractor. For that, I need a pen and a cell phone. I'm not a carpenter. I'm not a trade. I don't do any. I need a truck. That's all I need to be a builder. The building industry went away in 2007. The last home I built was on Garber Road. I'm sure everybody's familiar with it. It's one of the biggest homes built in Will County.
When's the last time you built a home?
2008.
Do you have any heavy equipment to build homes?
No. I'm a general contractor, like I said. Kimber Construction is the one that has the tractors there. They're the ones that did the driveway for me. When I first bought the property, in order to get back there, she's on a flag lot as well. She only has 10 foot of frontage, just as I do. The gentleman said they had frontage. They don't have the frontage. They have 10 feet, just like I do. When you come down the driveway, she owns 10 feet this way to put her own driveway in. And then to take a left, she owns 15 feet.
You know what, Andy, do you have a pointer? Just so you can...
I have a better map, too.
And when I originally got to the property, you couldn't get to the property. Right at the corner of her property, there was a car that was full of trees and everything. I uncovered the car. I believe it belongs to her. It's been sitting there for the longest. And in order to get back there, I had to cut down trees. I had to cut down everything. You couldn't get back to the property. I put the road in. I cut the driveway in. I made my own driveway. On my property, on my 10 feet that I have, I made my own road to get back there. She has 15 feet to put her own driveway in to get back there. She hasn't cleaned it up. It costs money to clean it up to get back there. I spoke to her and I said, if I put a fence here, you will not be able to get back to your property. I even put a gate at my entrance, and I put another gate at the other entrance in case she ever wanted to pass through. I just about 2 weeks ago, I cut the grass at her property. I baled it, and we went halves on it, and there's a gate from my property to her property, so she can get back there. I even left her a gate, because otherwise she has to clean 15 feet of her property to get back to her property. But
so are you saying that your use of your easement,
for her, on my property,
her easement is actually next to yours, it's unimproved?
Sure.
You put a gate on that property
on my
to allow access to her property so she can go across your easement?
Yes, if this way, I would put, when I originally bought the property, it was already fenced. It just had a bad fence on this left side. I put the exact same fence that was there. The reason I was gonna put horses there just to leave, just the ones that had the babies. I only had two mares with a baby on, you know, so they can pasture, that's it. I put a fence up, you know, so the horses wouldn't go onto her alfalfa field or her hay field. But I left the door so her farmer could pass through there. Just, you know, I guess we're friends or we are, and I left the gate for her, and I said, you know, Kim, here's a code. If you ever want to go in, there's a code to get in. I said, if I put a fence going this way, you'll never be able to get to your property. You're welcome to go through my property whenever you want. I have a gravel driveway now. Before, you couldn't get in there. You had to go through gravel, and people were dumping concrete. I did dump concrete when I originally bought the property. It's my first parcel. Since the market went down, I went into landscaping. So I didn't know what I was allowed to do. I corrected everything.
You answered our question. Basically, the drive into their property is basically going across your easement. The gate, the fences are on your property, so you say, you know, the only thing we always say to everybody is that everybody be a good neighbor to each other. These things sometimes will go away. And as far as, you know, that issue, we're not voting on that issue tonight. Do you have anything else to?
I did stop today and I talked to the neighbor where we go down, and that driveway belongs to everybody. For me to go out to Route 6, I have my own driveway now, that my trucks are not gonna pass through there. And I have bobcats. When we do landscaping, we fill in pools, we put in dirt. I level, you know, and I help Kim out as much as I can. Person right at the entrance, I help her as much as I can for the driveway, because I do, and she put speed limit. I called the other day and I asked her, how are the guys doing? She said, well, they're doing wonderful, thank you very much. And I spoke to her today. I said, if there's any concerns or anything, because I saw that, you know, the memo on the letter she wrote, I said, you know, I'm going to get an A1 entrance. That's what if I turn into A1, I get an A1 entrance, 10 feet, just like everybody else has there. I'm just trying to get to my property, and it costs me money to get there. I put power in there, I pulled the permit for the power, I put a well in there, I pulled the permit for the well, and I have a building sitting there that we haven't put up because we're waiting on our zoning. So, I mean, I'm trying to better the property.
Thank you.
I'm trying to do a good job.
All right, we appreciate your comments. Thank you. All right, at this time, on case 6220-MSV, we have a request for a map amendment. I'd like to entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion. Case 6220-MSV, approval of a map amendment from I-2 to A1.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Mr. Chairman?
Wait.
Yes, Michael?
I would like to first have you make a motion to add an additional condition that relates to the right of entry.
Okay.
I can read that condition into the record,
Yes.
and then you can make a motion to add that
Yes.
as an additional condition to the
Could you read
case.
that additional?
Yes. Upon 14 days of written notice to the owner of record at their last known address, Will County Land Use Department and Will County Sheriff's Office Department employees are hereby granted the right of entry in and upon the premises for the purpose of inspecting the premises and uses thereon for compliance with the terms and conditions of the special use permit.
Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to start over. I'm going to entertain a motion for the addition of the eighth condition?
Yeah,
Okay, eighth condition as read by Mr. Spatana.
So moved.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. We have a motion on the table for, we're going to have to do that motion for the map amendment. Jim?
I'll make a motion. So in case 6220-MSV, approval of a map amendment from I-2 to A1.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Carruthers.
Aye.
Lockers not here. Mitchell.
Yes.
Peterson votes yes. Stippen.
Yes.
White's not here. Chairman Linville.
Yes, motion carries. Next, we have, on the same case, we have a request for a special use permit. I'd like to entertain a motion.
Motion case 6220-MSV for approving a special use permit for landscaping and lawn maintenance in an A1 zoning district.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Is there
With
any further?
8 conditions.
Eight conditions, excuse me. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Carruthers.
Aye.
Lockers not here. Mitchell.
Yes.
Peterson votes yes. Stippen?
Yes.
White's not here. Chairman Lonville?
Yes, motion is approved. Next, we have a request for a variance.
Make a motion, zoning case 6220-MSV for approval of a variance for lot frontage from 300 feet to 10 feet.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. I do believe we have some paperwork for the applicant on the variance. Next case on the agenda, case 6236-S. We have a request for a special use permit. The applicants are the Martin Joint Venture LLC. Natalie from our staff will open this case.
Thank you, Chairman Malone. The subject property for zoning case 6236-S is located in Wheatland Township. The applicant is requesting a special use permit for light equipment sales and rental in an I-1 zoning district with the intent to sell used cars. Displayed is an aerial view of the general area. The property is located south of West 111th Street and west of Route 59. There is one paved entrance along West 111th Street. The portion of West 111th Street contains 3 lanes with a centered left-hand turn lane. Displayed are photos from the subject property. A multi-tenant building is located on the property. The proposed special use permit will be limited to Suite F. The cell tower is located in the rear of the property. The site contains a large paved parking lot. Displayed is a zoning map. The subject property is zoned I-1. The area is a mix of residential, commercial, and industrial zoning. The city of Naperville is adjacent to the property. Future land use maps for the city of Naperville identify the subject parcel as mixed-use commercial. Displayed is a site plan provided by the applicant. The applicant intends to park cars indoors as well as outdoors. The special use permit will require a shared parking plan. Staff recommends approval of special use permit for light equipment sales and rentals in an I-1 zoning district with 6 conditions. That concludes staff's analysis.
Natalie, can you define the shared parking plan?
At the time, so a building permit is required. At the time of the building permit, they will need to indicate to us that they've spoken with the other tenants in the building and worked out an agreed shared parking plan, as well as indicate on a site plan where that shared parking will occur.
Did they present that plan to the county this time?
No.
Okay.
That's going to be a part of the building permit process.
On the used car sales, are they going to be internet sales only, or are they going to be sales with a sales office open to the general public?
I would want the applicant to answer that question.
Any other questions of staff?
Well, we're missing that 14 days notification condition on this one.
Oh, okay.
We can add it just like we did with the last case.
Okay,
Okay. All right.
so that'll be 7, so 6.
Okay. Do you have any other questions of the staff? Thank you. This time I'd like to call the applicant on. Please state your name for the record.
No liability.
Okay, Mr. Pegg, I had a question about the internet sales versus the sales office open to the general public.
I do mainly internet sales.
Could you speak up into the microphone?
I do mainly internet sales, but I do have people that will come to the building, yes.
Okay. To open to the general public with a sales office, you'll both ways you're going to do it.
Correct.
Okay. Can you give us any idea about the parking agreement, because this is in like a condominium, looks like a multiple building with multiple condominiums, am I correct in that? It's not? Is it a street-standing building?
Excuse me.
Could you please state your name for the record, sir?
My name is Dennis Martin. I'm the manager of Martin Joint Venture. I own the building.
Okay.
The
Now,
building is not condominium, it's under single ownership.
Okay, it's a single, oh, so are there separate units, and how many are there?
There's 8 separate units, there's 2 buildings. The building that this use would be in has 3 units, has 3 spaces. There's 2 buildings on the same property.
Okay, well, how many spaces are in the building? Can you explain to us a little bit about the parking agreement?
Actually, on the leases for each of the spaces, we assign parking spaces. As the owner of the building, we assign it with the lease. Now, we've made arrangements with the 2 owners next to them to share some of that parking for the storage of his cars, where they have businesses where they only use a couple spaces, a handicap, a couple spaces for employees, and then a couple spaces for customers. And we've given Mr. Bagg the additional parking spaces that are available.
How many spaces do you have for this building, and how many does Mr. Bagg be having out of the total spaces?
So I think there's 7, including the
There's 7
And
on
just
just
one-
yours,
just one-
on your space, and adjacent to this building, there's, I'd be guessing probably there's 30 spaces.
There's 30 spaces, and he's gonna have 7 for the service?
Well, he has 7 in front of his, and he's going to actually, out of the 30 spaces, he's going to be using about 18 of them.
18 of the 30.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have anything else to add as far as staff goes? We're going to add this boilerplate condition on this that we added to the other case. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any other things that you'd like to bring up before us, or no?
I just came in case there were any questions.
Okay. Are there any questions? Okay. Thank you. You could be seated now. Thank you. Are there any objectors to this case? Concerned citizens? Please come down if you'd like to give testimony. Thank you. I was just going to move Please state your name for the records.
Michelle Lochran. My home backs up to the property that they're proposing this,
Okay.
and right now there's sections of the fence that are down, and it's poorly maintained. The fence hasn't been replaced in 18 years, and I'd rather not see a used car lot from my backyard.
Okay. I guess we didn't ask if there were going to be cars in the front or back, because I didn't realize that there is a front and a back. Are there cars?
My backyard is
Can we have the overview on that?
where the parking lot is,
Oh, okay.
I believe. There's cars parked there now.
So you would look at the backyard, you would look at the building with the parking spaces and probably the front of the building where the office is?
There's 2 buildings and my home backs up to the parking lot.
Where would your house be on north of it? North is the top and south is the bottom.
Do you see where Granite Lane comes in?
We have a pointer.
There's a cul-de-sac there. Back up,
Back up.
to the
Down.
right.
To the right. With the arrow? You're adjacent to the red
Right
part?
there, right.
Down?
That's my home, yeah.
That's my lot.
Okay. Where the arrow is where your house is?
Where's the arrow now? Right, that's my house.
Okay. And where's the building in question? Is it, to the right there, where it says I-1, where it's got that dotted line around it?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Is there a street behind your house there, or is it just a parking lot of that building?
The street dead ends there and it doesn't proceed
Oh, okay.
because there's a building.
It dead ends into the building?
Yes,
Okay. And whose fence is that?
Martin.
Okay. And do you have anything else to add?
Would you want the fence fixed? You don't want to look at parking?
Supposedly it is starting to be fixed because we have asked for that and some dead trees were removed. I don't know, would you want to use parking lot in your backyard? It's kind of not a thing you'd really want to have there.
Do you have anything else to add?
My house is the only one that really backs up to that parking lot. The other homeowners on my street back up to the buildings, so it doesn't really impact them as much as it would me. And the fence isn't even that tall. So even though, you know, I can look from my back deck towards the fence, I mean, it's not going to deter from seeing all the traffic and everything going on.
What kind of a fence is it?
Just a wood fence. That's mostly down right now in disrepair.
As we look at your neighborhood on that map there, where it says R3 there, if the area of the land to the left of that was showing, are there homes to the left of that, which would be to the west? Are there
Yes.
homes west of you there?
There's homes along the whole street.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
My neighbor has his home up for sale right now, so he probably has no interest in being here. He's the only one that really also backs up to that area. And where that street goes, would have gone through, that's just empty land that we mow and take care of. That hasn't been taken care of by the county, so we're not on that. But we have the other homes on the other side back up to the Brown building.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
I've got one question.
Mr. Chairman.
Please, please. We're asking this.
Oh, I thought she was finished. Excuse me.
Who has been there longer? Your subdivision, their buildings? Who's been there longer?
I don't know, we've been there 18 years. The buildings have been there the whole time.
Okay.
Tenants have come and gone. We've never had a used car lot there before. We've
Okay.
had various businesses that have been in there, but never anything of this nature.
All right.
Okay, thank you. I'll let you come down if you want to respond to the...
I would like to, sir. Thank you.
Your name again is?
Dennis Martin, I'm the owner of the building.
Okay.
The answer to the question as to whether the building was there first or the subdivision was there first, the building was there first. It was zoned I-1 by the Will County, and the building was built in 1968.
Okay.
The subdivision was built in, I think, about the mid-70s. Okay? There are two sections going from the fence, and the fence is older. I have cedar rustic, and I have the contract for it here in my pocket. As soon as they could get there, I got a letter from the county. I talked to the county enforcement officer. I said, I can repair the fence. I'd rather put a new one up. And I said that they can't get there until the first week of August. They're coming Thursday morning at 9 o'clock to replace all the fences there. There is a parking lot there. There is actually a paved parking lot between the buildings, and cars are there. The property currently has an outside storage zoning that's screened. The fence is 8 foot tall, and it's on a 6 foot berm. So actually the screening is 14 foot high across the property. And there were previously much higher uses with construction equipment and things like that, and semi-trailers on the property before we acquired the property in, I think we acquired it in about 1996. But that's the thing. I apologize that, you know, kids kind of cut through there, and they took a couple of sections of the fence down so they could get over to the stores and cut through the back of the industrial property to get into their property. But that will be fixed Thursday.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
So you say the fence is 8 feet tall?
It's an 8 foot, yes, it's 8 foot tall, and it's on top of a 6 foot landscape berm. The easement going through was supposed to be a continuance of this of a street,
Okay.
but it was never made, and the reason it's kept as an easement is there's a gas line that goes through it, so NICOR, I think, and Commonwealth Edison have recorded easements there, so the easement has not been vacated.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right, at this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Smetana to read the added seventh condition to the case, so we could amend the agenda.
Upon 14 days of written notice to the owner of record at their last known address, Will County Land Use Department and Will County Sheriff's Department employees are hereby granted the right of entry in and upon the premises for the purpose of inspecting the premises and uses thereon for compliance with the terms and conditions of the special use.
This time, I'd like to entertain a motion to amend this case with the seventh condition, 6236-S.
So moved.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next, I'd like to entertain a motion for a request for the special use permit on case 6236-S.
Make a motion, case 6236-S, approving a special use permit for light equipment sales and rental in an I-1 zoning district with 7 conditions.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
Who seconded it?
You did.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have any discussion on this? The only comments I have is a couple comments as we went through this case. These type of buildings that are like this in these industrial zoning areas that have multiple units that were, the intent when they built those were for industrial uses, and I realize that there is a special use allowance on this particular use, but I look at where these are at and how they would affect adjoining properties. We did have a case a few years back, similar type situation in New Lenox, and it did not pass. What I also look at is, part of the zoning board is there's an orderly transition between properties. I understand that some of these properties were zoned in 1968 and 1975, but sometimes the orderly transition is so you don't have commercial traffic going through a residential district. So I myself, that will affect my vote. I'm not sure if anybody else has anything to add, but that's what I'd like to have put in the record.
Mr. Chairman?
This is now closed to any further comment at this time?
But the statement you made is not correct.
It is now closed to further comment. We had all our testimony. This is at the commission level right now. Thank you. I'd like to entertain, I'd like to have a roll call vote.
Carruthers.
Yes.
Flagler's not here. Mitchell.
Yes.
Peterson votes yes. Stippen.
Yes.
White's not here. Chairman Lenvelo.
No. Motion carries. Next case on the agenda, case 6252-MV, Harbor Holdings LLC, has a request for a map amendment and has a request for a variance. Kimberly from our staff will open up the case.
Thank you. Good evening. Zoning case 6252-MV takes place in Homer Township. The applicant would like to request a map amendment from R2 to I1 and a variance for front setback for 30 feet to 11.80 feet. The purpose is to allow the consolidation of the property within a abutting parcel within the I1 zoning district and to bring the parcel into compliance. The general location of the property is approximately a quarter mile east of Interstate 355. The property is northwest of South Archer Avenue. The subject parcel is referred to as parcel 1 of 2. The orientation of the two parcels is similar to a split zone property. Parcel 1 is zoned R2 and parcel 2 is zoned I1. The request for map amendment from R2 to I1 is for parcel 1 only. The subject property is 0.49 acre parcel. After consolidation, the property will equal 1.36 acres in size. There are zoning violations on the property. The current use of the property is industrial. However, the property is zoned R2. The primary use is the owner's paving business. Other uses include a truck repair service and an auto collector. The map amendment will not set a precedent for I-1 in the area. The intent of the map amendment is to correct the zoning violation and bring the parcel into compliance. Once corrected, the applicant will consolidate to create a single I-1 property. The property is a legal nonconformity. However, once the zoning district is amended, the property must adhere to the setback standards for the new zoning district. Therefore, the applicant is requesting a variance for front setback. The general area has a mix of residential, agricultural, and commercial zoning. The property is within the 1.5-mile radius of the village of Homer Glen, and it is located within the Homer Glen boundary agreement. The village of Homer Glen has requested a continuance to allow their plan commission to hear the case and make a recommendation. Here's the platted survey. Parcels 1 and 2 have been identified. Staff recommendation is approval of map amendment from R2 to I1 and approval of the variance for front setback from 30 feet to 11.80 feet. This concludes staff analysis.
Are there any questions of staff?
Homer Glen is requesting to be used in manner I have objection, or they just want to study the case and have their planning commission and their board vote on it.
They do not object. They wanted to continue to have an opportunity to research further.
Did they give you any dates as far as how they correlate our dates when we go further on to the planning committee and our county board?
They had a date scheduled in July, and they were one commissioner short, so they had to postpone.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Is the applicant here tonight? Are there any objectors or concerned citizens? The applicant, would you like to make come down? If you do not want to, you do not have to, unless any of the commissioners have a question of on your case.
I'm fine.
You're fine?
Good job.
Okay. In case 6252-MV, I'd like to entertain a motion for the requested map amendment.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve case number 6252-MB, map amendment from R2 to I1.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next, we have a request for a variance.
Mr. Chairman, same case number 6252-MB, a variance for front setback from 30 feet to 11.80 feet. 30 to 50?
That's on the back says
50.
11.80 or 11.50?
Wait a minute.
We have a discrepancy.
On the front page, it says 30 feet to 11.8. On the back page, it says, on the staff recommendation, it says 50 feet to 11.80.
11.80.
No, the 50
No,
and the 30.
the 30 or the 50?
The front setback is from 30 feet to 11.80.
Okay, great. You want to repeat that, Mike?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to approve case number 6252-MB, the variance for a front setback from 30 feet to 11.80 feet.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. We do have some paperwork for you, Mr. Tully, for the variance, so please don't leave.
Okay. All right, no problem.
Next case on the agenda, case 6254-V. We have a request for a variance. Kimberly from our staff will open the case.
Thank you. Zoning case 6254B takes place in Custer Township. The applicant would like to request a variance for the east side setback from 50 feet to 8 feet. The purpose is to construct a 50-foot by 120-foot pole building for agricultural purpose. The general location of the property is east of South West River Road and south of West Route 113. The lot is a 13-acre vacant parcel. Here are photos for you to view the subject property and the surrounding area. The surrounding area is primarily zoned agricultural and residential. The applicant is hindered by a natural gas utility easement on the western half of the property and the floodplain that exists on the property. If granted, the variance will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood. The general area is of rural character and the current use is agricultural. Staff recommends approval of variance for side setback from 50 feet to 8 feet. This concludes staff analysis.
Okay. Are there any questions to staff? Okay, I do have one question. I'm not sure if you can answer, it would be Mike Santana, but the question I have is that without a house on the property, this type of building is allowed? I thought at one time it was not. Has that been changed? Or is it because of the zoning classification?
The use has been established. The use is agricultural. So agricultural use has been established. There are crops.
Because of the agricultural use, you're not required to have a home on the property?
The use as agriculture has been established. If it were a residential use, then a residence would have to be established.
So if it had residential zoning, because it has agricultural zoning, it does not have to have a house? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Is the applicant here tonight?
Yes.
Are there any objectors or concerned citizens regarding this case? The applicant, do any of the commissioners have any questions of the applicant? No. You have anything to add to the case?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. At this time, on case 6254-B, I'd like to entertain a motion for the requested variance.
I'll make a motion, zoning case 6254-B, approving a variance for side yard setback from 50 feet to 8 feet.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, next case on the agenda, case 6256-V. We have a request for a variance. Kimberly from our staff will open up this case, or Natalie from our staff will open up this case, excuse me.
Thank you, Chairman Blum. Zoning case 6256-B takes place in Green Garden Township. The applicant is requesting a variance for lot area from 10 acres to 6.45 acres. The purpose of this request is to bring the property into compliance. Displayed is an aerial view. The subject property is located north of Stunkel Road and west of South 80th Avenue. Displayed are photos of the subject property. The property is rural in character and contains a residence as well as several agricultural structures. Displayed is a zoning map. The subject property is zoned A1. The surrounding area is zoned A1, A2, and E2 to the south. Staff recommends approval of a variance for lot area from 10 acres to 6.45 acres. That concludes staff's analysis.
Thank you. Are there any questions of staff at this time? Okay. Is the applicant here tonight? Are there any objectors? Do any of the commissioners have any questions to ask of the applicant? Would the applicant, do you have anything to add to the case?
No, sir.
Okay. Would you like to come down?
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, 6256-V. I'd like to entertain a motion for the requested variance.
Mr. Chairman, on case 6256-V, make a motion for variance for lot area from 10 acres to 6.45 acres.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Once again, we have some paperwork for you before you leave. Next case on the agenda, case 6257-B. We have a request for a variance. Owner of record, Matt Pierre. Natalie from our staff will open up the case.
Thank you, Chairman Malone. Zoning case 6257-B takes place in Frankfort Township. The applicant is requesting a variance for front yard setback from 30 feet to 21 feet. The purpose of this request is to allow for the construction of a roof over an existing deck. Displayed is an aerial view. The property is part of the Frankfort Estates townhomes. Photos of the subject property are displayed. All units in Frankfort Estates townhomes contain a similar deck. Those condos which have decks along Frankfort Square Road also extend within the required front yard setback. A zoning map is now displayed. The property is zoned R6 and is adjacent to A1, R5, and C2 zoning. Staff recommends approval of a variance for front yard setback from 30 feet to 21 feet. That concludes staff's analysis.
Thank you. Any questions to staff? Okay. Is the applicant here tonight?
Yes,
Are
sir.
there any objectors or concerned citizens? Do any of the commissioners have any questions of the applicant? Do you have anything to add?
No, sir.
Okay. You would like to come down?
Do you want me to come down?
No. You can if you like.
No, thank you.
I rephrase it, you can if you'd like. Okay. On case 6250, we try to be user-friendly here, if you know what I'm saying.
Me too.
It's a little warm, I think they turned off the air conditioning, we must be on the budget cutback or something.
You know, I'm cold, feel my hands.
Case 6257-B, I'd like to entertain a motion for the requested variance.
Mr. Chairman, in case 6257-B, make a motion to approve a variance for front yard setback from 30 feet to 21 feet.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
We have some paperwork. Oh, okay, no. Yeah.
Case, we've had a request on case 6258-B for a continuance to September 8, 2015.
No, September 1st.
September 1st?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Kimberly's throwing me a curve there, huh? We have a request to continue case, I'd like to entertain a motion to continue case 6258-B to September 1st, 2015.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion to continue case 2000 to September 2015 and zoning case 6258-B.
We have a motion, do we have a second? Second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
Nope.
Next case on the agenda, case 6259-B, James and Kathleen Grant. We have a request for a variance. Natalie from our staff will open the case.
Thank you, Chairman Malone. Zoning case 6259-B takes place in Lenox Township. The applicant is requesting a variance for south side yard setback from 20 feet to 7 feet. The purpose of this request is to allow for the construction of a garage. Displayed is an aerial view. The subject property is located west of Dauber Road and south of Route 6. Displayed are photos of the subject property. A single-family residence and attached garage exists on the property. The intent of the applicant is to demolish and rebuild the garage in the same location, which encroaches on the south side yard setback. Displayed is a zoning map of the area. The subject property is Zone A2 and abuts incorporated property with the City of Joliet. The area contains A1, A2, and residentially zoned property with the City of Joliet. Staff recommends approval of a variance for south side yard setback from 20 feet to 7 feet. That concludes staff's analysis.
Any questions of staff? The applicants here tonight? Are there any objectors? Does the commission have any questions to ask of the applicant? Does the applicant have anything to add?
No.
Okay, this time I'd like to entertain a motion on case 6259-V for the requested variance.
Mr. Chairman, on case 6259-V, make a motion for approval of the variance for south yard setback from 20 feet to 7 feet.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you. We do have some paperwork for you. I think everybody's getting this routine now. Next case on the agenda, case 6260-B. Owners of record, Stephen Schuler, Ruth Schuler. Beneficiaries, Valerie Dearlam, Vicky Grippy, Tracy Romano. We have a request for a variance. Natalie from our staff will look up this case.
Thank you. Zoning case 6260-B takes place in Poetone Township. The applicant is requesting a variance for maximum accessory building area from 1,800 square feet to 1,996 square feet. The purpose of the request is to allow for the construction of a detached garage. Displayed is an aerial view of the property in question. The subject property is located north of Bar Road and west of Route 45. This area of Bar Road is a rural residential corridor. Displayed are photos of the subject property. A single-family residence with several accessory structures exists on the property. Currently displayed is a zoning map. The property is zone R2. A1, A2, R2, and R3 zone properties exist in the general area. Staff recommends approval of a variance for maximum accessory building area from 1,800 square feet to 1,996 square feet. That concludes staff's analysis.
Any questions of staff? Thank you. The applicant here tonight?
Yes, sir.
Are there any objectors?
I'm sorry?
Are there any objectors out there tonight? Okay. Do any of the commissioners have any questions of the applicant? Okay. Do you have anything to add, sir?
No, that's it. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. This time, I'd like to entertain a motion on case 6260-B for the requested variance.
Make a motion, zoning case 6260-B approving a variance for maximum accessory storage area from 1,800 square feet to 1,996 square feet.
Second. We have a motion and we have a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you. We do have some paperwork for you. Next on the agenda, we have a request for a temporary use permit 2015-09. Bruce Baltima is the applicant. Baltima is the applicant. Kimberly Phillips from our staff will open the case.
Thank you. The temporary use permit TU15-09 is for a fall festival to be operated from September 26th through October 31st. The hours of operation are 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. The applicant will need to meet the conditions of the temporary use. Staff recommends approval of temporary use permit 15-09.
Okay. Do we need any site inspection on a case like this for a temporary use permit? What do you think, Michael or Kimberly? Is there a site inspection on that? Oh, but, no, I mean site inspection by the county.
No site inspection was required for the temporary use for the fall festival. It's been repeated as well, and it has received approval in years past.
Okay.
No problem, second vote.
There's been no problems, traffic complaints?
No complaints have been
Nothing.
received.
Okay.
Nothing. It's
Are there any other questions of the staff?
A1. A1.
Any other questions of the staff at this time? Do you have anything else? Thank you. The applicant's here tonight. there any objectors or concerned citizens on this request? Do any of the commissioners have any questions of the applicant?
No.
Okay.
I can vouch.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
boy. This time, I'd like to entertain a motion on the temporary use permit 2015-09.
Go ahead, Mike. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the temporary use permit 2015-09
With the
7 conditions, I guess.
second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Next case on the agenda, we have a request for a temporary use permit 2015-11. Craig and Lori Tracy are requesting this permit, and Kimberly Phillips from our staff will open this case.
Thank you. Temporary use permit 15-11 is for a fall festival. The dates of operation are from September 26th through November 7th. The conditions of the temporary use permit must be met by the applicant. Staff recommends approval of the temporary use permit 15-11.
Any questions? Thank you. Are there any questions to staff? The applicant's here tonight?
Yes.
Are there any objectors? Okay, do any of the commissioners have any questions of the applicant? Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion for the temporary use permit 2015-11.
Mr. Chairman, the temporary use permit, I recommend a motion to approve temporary use permit 2015-11 with the 8 conditions as listed.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, we have a text amendment to the county building code.
Excuse me, wait 1 minute. Who made this motion? For Tracy.
You made the motion and Mike seconded.
Okay, thank you.
The last one, no, Mike made the last one we just
Okay.
had was Mike.
All right.
Mike made the motion.
Got it.
Okay. Next on the agenda, we have a Will County Building Ordinance Text Amendment public hearing. Mike Smetana from the AICP Chief Building Official and Building Division Director of the county will speak on this.
Thank you, Chairman Vaughn. I just want to give everyone a brief summary of what this public hearing is for before we go to public hearing for public comments. This is upon the direction of the Will County Board. This public hearing is being conducted to review a proposed text amendment to the Will County Building Ordinance. The proposed text amendment would remove authorization provided to the building official through the 2012 International Residential Code to conduct preliminary inspections. Now, preliminary inspection is authorized by Section 105.9 of the 2012 International Residential Code. That section of the code states that before issuing a permit, the building official is authorized to examine or cause to be examined buildings, structures, and sites for which an application has been filed. Preliminary inspections have been utilized by the building division for damage assessments, to assess work that was completed without a building permit as part of a code enforcement process, and in foreclosure situations. Preliminary inspection findings are utilized to determine a scope of work as part of a building permit application. This scope of work defines what work is necessary to ensure that a premises is in compliance with adopted building codes and to ensure minimum health, life, and safety. All preliminary inspections that are performed by the building division are done so only after permission to enter the property has been granted and only when in conjunction with a building permit application. The proposed text amendment will eliminate section 105.9. Now, just to give a brief description of how the building ordinance works, it's slightly different than the Will County zoning ordinance. The county adopts a set of international codes. There's an international residential code, the international building code, and so forth. Local amendments to those codes are identified in the local Will County building ordinance. So by striking section 105.9 in the 2012 International Residential Code, we'll be amending the Will County building ordinance to state that that code provision is not applicable. Does that make sense? So what the proposed text amendment does is removes the authority granted to me to require preliminary inspections.
Okay. Would you like to open the public hearing?
Yes.
Okay, before we open the public hearing, I just want to make a couple of points here. On this public hearing, we're going to take statements from the public. This is not a question and answer session. It's basically to gather information for the public hearing so it can be presented to the county board. So at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to open the public hearing for the Will County Building Ordinance Text Amendment.
So moved.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? This public hearing is now open. Are there any, is there anyone that would like to speak on at this public hearing tonight? No. Is there anyone in the public that would like to speak on this tonight?
Mr. Will?
Oh, yes. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. I'll turn on you want to, you can go right there if you want, Tom.
Okay.
This is Tom Weigel. He's the Land Use Committee Chairman and Will County Board Member.
This has been in discussion for several months at the county board level at the Land Use Committee. The Realtors Association has brought up some objections to the use of this section. And the county hasn't really been able to come up with a good solution. And one suggestion was just to eliminate it. But I think it should be modified and it should be defined more. I've got a list here of 6 or 7 parameters that the Realtors Association has brought forward. And I think they all make good sense and would help define the preliminary inspection and would make it useful for the department and for the county. So I would suggest that these proposals be implemented into our ordinance to help define the parameters of preliminary inspections.
Okay. Is it something too long to read, or is it something that you want to take it to your committee level, enter into the record and take it to your committee level?
Yeah, I can give you copies and they
Okay,
can go forward.
take the copies.
You can go forward to the committee.
And we'll enter it into the record.
And I'd like to know what staff's recommendation is, if they have a recommendation.
Okay. Do you have anything else to add to that other than this?
No.
And as far as what staff recommendation is, you want to know that tonight? Or you want to wait till your meeting?
If possible, tonight.
Okay.
Michael, do you have a copy of this?
No, we'll take a copy, Mr. Weigel.
You are therefore asking us not to move forward on the request that's put in front of us.
That's correct.
Michael?
This is simply a public hearing. You'll open the public hearing, which you've done.
Oh,
You'll take
okay.
public comments, and then you'll close the public hearing.
That's right.
There's no
I'm
additional
sorry.
action that this commission
I'm
needs
so
to take.
used to doing everything else.
Okay.
That's right. Thank
Okay.
you.
Do you have anything else to add? Or are you complete? other than this?
No, that's all I have.
Okay, at this time, does staff want to comment at all, or do they just want to review and comment at a later date?
We'll reserve our comments for a later date.
I will. All right, thank you. At this time, is there anyone else that would like to give testimony tonight? Mr. Joseph?
No, thank you, Chairman.
Okay. Do any of the commissioners, would you like to read this at this time, or do we just want to look at it as enter into the record? And
Do you want us to read it and enter it properly into the record, the minutes?
I would defer to the state's attorney's office to see if we actually have to read the entire document out loud in here.
No,
Thank you.
Pardon?
No.
you don't actually have to read it. You can reflect that that will be made part of the record and it will be attached to the minutes.
Very
So
good.
any of the public will have the opportunity to review it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Make a motion that we include this in our public records.
We have a motion to include the paper from Mr. Weigel in regards to the 6 preliminary inspection examples be included into the public record. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
The second, Chairman.
Pardon? Second?
That's it, the seven. At ABC?
No, there's no B. I see 6. Oh, yeah,
Oh,
there's
there's a
1,
B.
2, 3, 4, 5. There is 7, excuse me.
I would recommend just entering the entire document as presented.
The entire document as written will be entered into the record. We have a motion. We have a second? Second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? This is now entered into the record. Is there anyone else at this time that would like to have any public comment? This time, I'd like to entertain a motion to close the public hearing. We have a motion. We have a second. Second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed? And we're now back in the regular meeting. At this time, that concludes our staff cases. Does the staff have anything to add at this time? Okay. The commission does have a couple. Pardon? The commission does have a couple. What we'd like to do is, I'm not sure who's in charge of making the agenda for the commission, but there's a couple things we'd like to have added. We'd like to have a work session added to our next September meeting for the commission at the end of the meeting, and we want to discuss, I'm going to ask the commissioners, these are some comments independently have been told to me in regards to, they want to review, everyone should come in prepared as far as there's been some comments about caseloads at the commission level. Okay, think about that long and hard. We're going to discuss caseloads that we're seeing here on a monthly basis, and we would like to discuss, if we could, we've had some comments about how the cases are being presented. There's been some changes that some of the commissioners feel that some of the information that we used to have in there it's been reorganized, and we'd like to bring everyone to bring in their thoughts about what they're seeing and what they're not seeing in the cases that would streamline the process. So I'd like to hold off till next meeting. Everybody would bring some notes in, and we'll discuss both of those topics at the next meeting. So we would have that added to the agenda? Okay. This time I'd like to entertain a motion to close the meeting. We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Meeting closed. Thank you.